Well, JK Rowling is back in the news because she's the worst. Literally a couple days ago, she had a tweet go viral with 390,000 likes on Twitter. That's just simply her saying no in response to a projector sign that says, "Repeat after us, trans women are women." That's actually not that many likes when you consider she's the queen of TERFs, and, like, that's literally every TERF that exists that liked that tweet. But, you know, pretty concerning that she's continuing to descend down this path. But we've got a news story, besides just her tweeting some cringe shit and getting more transphobic and mask off, that, has kind of gotten into the news in the last couple days. Headline follows as such. JK Rowling claims that she would, quote, happily spend 2 years in prison for misgendering a trans person. By the way, this whole, like, idea of going to prison for any amount of time for misgendering a trans person is, like, a made-up fantasy that conservatives have. It's a made-up persecution fantasy that right-wingers and TERFs have about trans people. It doesn't exist. It's not a thing. It never will. Yeah, Jordan Peterson got really big back in 2017 and 2016, claiming that Canada's Bill C-16 expansion to include gender identity as a protected category would be this, but in reality, all it did was expand laws that make it so you can't discriminate based on certain characteristics for hiring for jobs, renting out for living situations, just very basic fundamental stuff. Like, it probably shouldn't be legal to say, we don't allow black people to work here, and then to enforce that. So with laws like that in mind, they expanded it to gender identity, and right-wing grifters claimed, this is making it so if you misgender a trans person on accident, you're gonna get slapped in handcuffs and go to prison. Hasn't happened, never will happen, or never will happen.
I never set out to upset anyone. However, I was not uncomfortable with getting off my pedestal. And was
already off to an interesting start from her quote here.
Interested me over the last 10 years, and certainly in the last few years, the last 2-3 years, particularly on social media, you've ruined your legacy. Oh, you could have been beloved forever, but you chose to say this. And I think you could not have misunderstood me more profoundly. I do not walk around my house thinking about my legacy.
Well, mansions, but yeah, JK Rowling doesn't care about her legacy. I do believe her when she says that. I think you are basically making a non-own whenever you tell her that she's giving up her legacy of being unanimously loved by going down in history as a bigot. But, like, she doesn't care. Like, she feels as though trans people, I guarantee that she genuinely feels as though trans people, trans women, and the trans movement is an evil that is hurting women in feminism. A lot of TERFs, and I think JK Rowling herself included, see themselves as anti-misogynistic heroes that are fighting against an evil, coercive movement disguising itself as progressivism that is really just a way of hurting women. That's how these people view it. Ironically enough, though, that's what TERFism is. TERFs are just conservatives. They are people who hold conservative values around gender that are trying to disguise said conservative values as a form of feminism. What they view as feminism is simply the protection and superiority of women. With the rise of BuzzFeed and, like, pop feminism, liberal, whatever feminism, that's not really what the academic, like practice and theory of feminism really is, has led to is this belief that feminism and female success are synonymous. You guys have noticed this, right? Simply the idea that female success is feminism. YouTube has been a big purveyor of this with Sniper Wolf. I've used this as an example recently with that drama. Sniper Wolf is one of the largest, if not maybe the largest female YouTuber on the platform. Correct me if I'm wrong. And because of that, YouTube uses her as this bargaining chip in the broader media world to point to her as an example of female success on YouTube. The problem is, she's awful. She's gotten to where she is by stealing content, lying, manipulating, and obviously now she's doxing and threatening people. And YouTube has responded to all of this, if you guys don't know, by giving her a slap on the wrist. She got demonetized temporarily, despite the fact that she literally went to another creator's house, posted their address and house on the internet, threatened them, and encouraged their fans to go pay them a visit. She got temporarily demonetized by YouTube. And YouTube said that they want to be fair to both sides in their statement on the issue. YouTube has outright stated that there will not be any serious repercussions for Sniper Wolf. If they did anything, they know damn well that the wrong people could frame it as YouTube unceremoniously banning without any recourse the most successful female figure on the site, if not one of the biggest. And with that in mind, the same idea carries over to JK Rowling. A lot of fucking libs see female success alone as feminism. And J.K. Rowling applies that same standard to herself and to other women and to feminism itself. To J.K. Rowling, her success is feminism. J.K. Rowling being a successful, wealthy woman who stands up for what she believes in. You can say it's not what she's doing as much as you like, but she is standing up for what she believes in. It's just what she believes in is bigotry. She's standing up for bigotry. She views this as feminism, as an epic girl boss moment. You guys know that gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss wasn't always ironic, right? Like, the reason why people say that ironically as a meme is because for a long time there was a culture of women online, of feminist women online, who lived by that motto and said it unironically. Because gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss to people like J.K. Rowling is feminism. Now, in reality, feminism is a political theory, a social and political theory centered around the idea of establishing an egalitarian society with equitable outcomes for people regardless of gender, as well as trying to dismantle and analyze the social structures that basically formulate our biases around, our gender expectations, our gender identities, etc. So everything from, unfair gender expectations and double standards to, policies that negatively affect one gender more than the other. These are the kind of things that feminism, as an academic and political and social theory, are meant to acknowledge. But people like J.K. Rowling and other pop feminists have heavily weaponized it and turned it into feminism is when women succeed. Or feminism is, God forbid, feminism is when women do better than man. It's not what feminism is, and it gives a horrible perspective on what it's about to the broader audience. Like, J.K. Rowling is definitely bringing in a lot of, like, the TERF crowd with this stuff and has a lot of broader acceptance from a lot of, like, the transphobic public, but her messaging is not even good for a transphobe. The constant, like, justification of her transphobia with feminism does not really work in the long run, because most transphobes don't believe in feminism and don't agree with it in any way, shape, or form. So J.K. Rowling will continuously find that those that agree with her and are willing to ally with her on the political right don't even believe or agree with her on many of the most fundamental, basic political ascriptions she holds. Hannah Miller, thank you for the $20. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the super chat. Says, the first segment I see after getting my ears pierced is about J.K. Rowling. Lovely. I love watching your live streams, so here's money. Oh, thank you so much. And hopefully your ears are doing well after the piercing. I've never gotten any piercings or tattoos, but, I mean, I imagine it's a little sore for a while afterwards, so hopefully that subsides and isn't a problem for you. But yeah, let's continue this clip. This god-awful clip from J.K. Rowling.
To say this. And I think you could not have misunderstood me more profoundly. I do not walk around my house thinking about my legacy. What a pompous way to live your life.
She has a very punchable face. I wouldn't say that. She has a permanent scowl. That one image of J.K. Rowling that was used in that thumbnail, I think by Big Joel, really does sum up her general, like she's constantly got that, like, wrinkled nose scowl type thing going on. She's got resting bitch face, basically. And she had resting bitch face before she was an out-and-out transphobe too. This is not an insult that originates from her being a bigot. She's always had resting bitch face. There's just no getting around that. Even if she stopped being transphobic and a bigot tomorrow, that wouldn't change the fact she has resting bitch face. Yeah, she has that, like, Victorian British woman try hard resting. She's trying to do this, by the way. I feel like you've got to try to look this snooty and uptight. Especially, didn't she, like... I know this is, like, maybe racist, but not so much in America. But wasn't she, like, the British version of white trash prior to getting rich off of Harry Potter? Wasn't she living off of, like, government subsidies and living in, like, a British trailer park or some shit? I don't know. Like, what, like... She's relatively new money, right? Not really. Is that just something she made up to make herself sound good? Nah, she was always middle class. She lost money because she got divorced. Ah.
Walking around thinking, what will my legacy be? Whatever. I'll be dead. I care about now. I care about the living.
Very interesting response. Yeah, I really don't think the argument that her legacy... Like, oh, you're destroying your legacy is really that good of a gotcha against JK Rowling. Because to her, she probably believes she's fighting for something good. Like, I know that these people are evil. What they fight for is evil, and they are trying to take away the rights of innocent people and demonize innocent people. But many of them believe they're doing the right thing, and that they're fighting for some form of twisted justice. In the case of JK Rowling, she believes that trans people are some sort of smokescreen for dangerous men to get women's guard down and predate on them in some way, because J.K. Rowling's brand of feminism is twofold. Women succeeding is feminism, and hating men and calling them predators is feminism. Essentially, J.K. Rowling's feminism is misandry and transphobia, and girl bossing. It's funny because people are unironically transvestigating her on Twitter. Yes, that is the leopards eating faces thing that I was going to bring this around to. As of late, support for J.K. Rowling in the transphobe sphere has been dropping. J.K. Rowling has been getting regularly transvestigated. J.K. Rowling herself is, like, she's gotten some plastic surgery, because she's an older lady who wants to look pretty online and in the public eye, despite saying that doesn't matter to her. But so, like, you can tell how much Botox she's gotten and that she's had a couple procedures, notably her nose. Her nose, like, oh my god, look at a picture of J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling pre-plastic surgery. Are you guys ready to see a different person? Are you guys ready to see a literally different person? Literally a different person. The face is shaped, is just a completely different shape. Every aspect, the eyes are a different shape, the eyebrows are a different shape, the nose is different, the laugh lines are different, the mouth is different-ish. Actually, the mouth is kind of still similar. The chin is definitely different. Her entire face has been thinned. The hairs, obviously, you can just change up your hair. Plastic surgery doesn't... I'm obviously not talking about her hair. I'm talking about her face. She looked less evil. Yeah, guys, I don't think that plastic surgery always makes... Like, I think plastic surgery, Botox, and those things are kind of a decision that will maybe be good in the short term, but if you want to preserve your looks in the long term, it may be not the best decision. Maybe not the best decision. Not the most hot of takes. The lighting, though, the lighting's definitely different, but you can tell that the entire shape of the head is different. But yeah, like, a lot of these, like, people who obsess themselves with trans people, the reason why they look so awful, or they look so weird a lot of the time, is they're people who are insanely self-conscious about their own appearances. Like, let's look at some of the most notable transphobes. J.K. Rowling. Let's bring up a picture of J.K. Rowling. We'll bring up that same picture of her before and after plastic surgery. Or a different picture, but, you know, same premise. Okay. Let's bring up images of 3 of the most prominent transphobes in the world right now, okay? At least on social media. J.K. Rowling, Graham Linehan, and Ollie London. All of them happen to be British. Holy shit, I didn't even realize that till I went through the list. There are very clear commonalities among these people. All of them have very obviously are self-conscious about their own appearances, and so they obsess with the appearances of others and believe if they dedicate themselves to shitting on the looks of other people and degrading other people's appearances in some way, then maybe it'll make them look or feel better. It's a very common psychological phenomenon. It's called being an asshole.